To understand Ama, we have to start from the beginning of everything that is, let's see if this thing works here. No, it doesn't. Okay. From Agni. You know Agni what is? Are you aware of Agni? You know, there is all this fire here. But Agni actually is not fire. You see? Is the transformation. This is an image of the god, Agni, that has three faces, because it looks everywhere, because he can see every moment and every moment of the transformation. Agni is not fire, as is normally translated, but is the effect of fire. So is the transformation. One thing that become another. So is something that is not connected with the matter, but is an effect that acts on the matter. Transformation and Agni are the basis of everything in the universe. We can find them at the atomic level, when we speak about these that are in the electrons, the orbit side, the nucleus of an atom. We speak about Agni that is able to make the transformation of one thing in another. We go further, the orbitals and the structure of matter itself, all is depending on the Agni and how Agni works, how this transformation work, how is clean this transformation from one level to another. We can even see Agni, of course, in all the ramification of the life in this planet, starting from bacteria, going to the algae, plants, and going in trees, and animals, mammals, and whatever. Everything is ruled by Agni. And the whole our planet is ruled by Agni. And the whole universe is ruled by Agni. So Agni is the universal constant of transformation. Everything happens because of Agni. So Agni has to work very well. Because if Agni does not work very well, the transformation does not happen. And this is the point. If something is not very well transformed, means that if A is not transformed in B, means that it's stuck in the middle. It's not A, it's not B. It's something that has no clear identity. And it's something that is called Ama. We will see what really Ama means and what really Ama means. A living being does only one thing, from the birth to the death, is the transformation of heterologous elements into homologous elements. I eat an apple is heterologous. When I eat the apple, I transform the apple in myself and it becomes homologous. This is the transformation, and this transformation is ruled by Agni. But this transformation does not happen only at the gastrointestinal level, because food, for Ayurveda, but even for common sense, is not only what is eaten, but food is everything is transformed from heterologous into homologous. Thus, we may have physical, perception, and mental, transformation. And we may have a food at every level. We are feeding us in every moment of our life. I am eating you in this moment, and you are eating me in this moment. And we have to use our Agni to digest each other. We have to digest the concept. We have to digest what we see. We have to digest, even if we don't realize what we smell, what our senses perceive. And each of these transformations has to go smoothly. For each of these transformations, Agni has to work properly. Because if something does not work very well, the transformation stops. If we think at living beings like a tube, where something enters from one end and exits from another end, something else, we can have a diagram on how Agni works. Let's have some food. Let's put this food inside the tube. Here there is Agni that transforms the food in homologous. The action of Agni in Sanskrit is pak. That means cooking. And the consequences of cooking is digestion from one side and transformation. This happens when we eat. This happens when everything enters through the senses in our body. And this happens at all the levels that we will see are not only physical. What happens if this Agni is low? What happens if this Agni is not working properly? It can work not properly for many reasons, but we are not speaking about the reasons by which Agni can be little. This will take another lecture, at least. Let's assume that Agni is not working properly, that is very little, that is not sufficient to make a proper transformation. So Agni is little, and so we will have little digestion, cooking, and transformation. So if we take the same food as before, what we will get, we will have an uncompleted transformation and the formation of Ama. Ama, the translation of Ama, is food that is not cooked. And this gives you an idea on how deep and how important it is to have a knowledge of Sanskrit terms, because everything is inside here. Everything is inside a term. Everything is inside a Sanskrit term. So, food not cooked means that there was not enough pak, means that there was enough Agni. So, we have the formation of this Ama. That is, as I told you, something that is not heterologous, that is not completely homologous, that is something in the middle, that accumulate in the body and make an intoxication. Intoxication, what does it mean? Means that this Ama accumulating, block in some way all the communication that there are in the body, blocking other transformation also, blocking other transformation, and creating a crisis in communication, a crisis in the coherence of the body, a crisis in the functioning at the end of the body. This is the basis of the disease. So, we may think that a disease process is caused by a crisis of amatoxicity. And this is actually what Ayurveda says. At the origin of every disease, there is a crisis of ama. There is ama formation. There is a problem of Agni, and thus there is the intoxication and the formation of ama. Ama, as I told you, stops the communication, stops the transformation, and stops the communication. And this may happen at all the levels. I told you before that the food that we can take from the environment is physical, is mental, is entered through the perception, but is also, the transformation happens also at the mental level. So we may have a stop and the creation of ama also at the mental level. Let's now see all the level on which ama can be formed. Let's try now to understand in a very simple and schematic way, but actually it works, how are we made? We have a physical part, physical, this body. And we have a physical interaction with the environment. If I walk outside and there is a car that struck me, that's something that happened to my physical part. It's the environment that has a contact with my physical part, and I have a contact with the environment. So we have this contact through perception, to our 5 senses. And this contact is mediated by Agni, that transform the impulses from the external environment in something homologous to us that we perceive as environment. So what connects us to the environment is Agni. And this is the first level. By this perception, the physical level may react at the environment. There are a lot of reactions that happen only at the physical level. Is the so-called experiment of the frog made in the 1700s. If you cut a frog and you make it was very cruel. It's very crude, but I mean, it has been done. If you cut a frog by this, and you have only the leg, and you pinch one of the leg of the frog, you know, the frog will withdraw the leg, the half frog. And this is something that happens only at the physical level. It is the root of the perception, and there is some Agni that works at the physical level that make the half frog withdraw the leg. We are a little bit more complicated than half a frog, even for Sasha. Even Sasha is more complicated than a half a frog. I'm sorry that you are not here, because it could have been funnier. Because there is another level. There is the mental level. And you see, the perception goes to the mental level. And they go to the mental level, and they are elaborated also here by Agni. Another Agni. The Agni that make the perception, the environmental perception, to become a mental model of reality. An elaboration of what is the environment. Not just the half frog, but an elaboration on what is the environment and how can I answer to the environment. This is the basis of the formation of the ego. Because the ego is nothing else what we think that we are in relation of our perception of reality. This definition gives also an idea on how limited is the ego. But the ego is very powerful because the perception are very strong. And he dominates the models of reality. Because the model of reality that we form in our mind is related to the kind of ego that has been formed by our elaboration of perception of the environment. Is this clear? Okay. And if the thing was limited to this level, it could be simple. But the problem is that there is another level. Because it's our everyday and personal experience that there is not everything limited in our life to mind. Because sometimes there is something that doesn't fit in our model of reality. There is something that doesn't work in the way we would like that it goes. So there is another level. And this level, of course, the ego, the mental, they act on the physical, and they, of course, allow to answer to the environment. There is the third level, that is so-called the intuitive level. And the relationship between the mental level and the intuitive level are still mediated by Agni. Because what Agni transforms are the perception that goes at that level. But the funny thing is that at the intuitive level, perception do not form a model of reality, do not form an egotic model. There is no ego at the intuitive level. At the intuitive level, there is just the perception of the environment as it is. And this is mediated by Agni.